guys, welcome back. So, been a little bit of a break. Work's been really busy and a couple of the young guys at work aren't really pulling their weight, so Dylan and I are pretty much toasted after the week. So this week we're going to get into the Torana. There's a little bit of progress on the XK. I might throw some shots in there of where that's at for you. That's getting really close to masking up and getting paint on it. The radiator has got the thermo fan mounted on the shroud, relay and the start of the loom. We're going to drop this in the Torana, do an extension on a couple of wires on the engine bay harness because we've had to relocate the temp sender for the gauge into the top hose, so that way the Holley sniper pickup can go into the cylinder head and get a more accurate temp reading for the sniper. And once we get it to hold water, we can run this cam in and go from there. So we'll get out there, get it in, go from there. Okay, so the radiator's dropped in. Just got to nip up the 4 bolts that hold that. And then, like I said, we're going to do the relocation for the temp sender for the gauge, because being after the thermostat, factory gauges aren't that accurate anyway, so reading a couple of degrees cool is not going to really hurt. But the one in the cylinder head is the only cooling system port that the red motor 6-cylinder Holdens have, and that's the one I want for the EFI because it'll be more accurate, hopefully. So we'll get these done up. So we can get the hoses on and get it bleeding to try and get the air out of the system while we do the wiring. So that way when we go to start it, we're not worried about burping air and we can go straight into bedding the cam in. This one's a bit harder to do that. Okay, so they're done. Now we can get to the harness. We'll work out where this top hose is going to sit and where we're going to cut into for that sender. Alright, so I reckon there, I'll go get the hose cutters and we'll trim this down. Okay, so down there is where the original factory temp sender would have been, coming off this green wire up here, which has got broken insulation and it's fairly brittle. So we're going to unwrap the loom back to about here, shorten it up to where the insulation is good, and then we're going to extend that and loom it to run along the head and up to our new sender unit location. And we're going to have to run a ground in there with it as well, bring it back and ground that on the body somewhere or on the engine. And that'll let the sender unit work because it's mounted in a rubber hose, so it's not going to find a ground. And the EFI sender being back here is going to give us more accurate readings. Thermo fan, that's mounted up, and the shroud is just that tin one that we made up at home. It's got the bypass holes on both sides with the rubber matting over them so that it doesn't become an air blockage, if you like, when you're traveling along highway speeds. And then down the bottom, can't really see down in there, where's the light? Down there we've got our 30 amp relay wired straight to the fan, and then we're going to loom off of that. There's a little 4-pin plug down there that we've got that we're going to loom off that and bring it up to the battery. And then when we get to there, we're going to have to work on probably mounting the power distribution module here for the EFI for the Holley, and then taking our power sources out of there. Going to run a new battery positive lead for the starter because this thing is janky and it's tiny, and between that and the PDM we should get a clean signal and power supply for all the gauges and the EFI. For now though, we're just going to earth the relay out to the battery and have it run the fan constantly while we're running the cams in. Alright, so that's all pretty much secured and mounted up. We've got clearance down to our water pump, and yeah, we get on to the next bit. Okay, so we've got that all wired up, tidied up, and we jerry-rigged the thermo fan so it'll actually run for us while we bed it in. I'm going to crank it, get fuel up to the carby. We'll make sure the fan's running constantly, and we'll yeah, wind the idle up so it runs, and we'll give it half an hour at about 2000 RPM. Fingers crossed. Help put the battery terminal on, wouldn't it? Try again. Okay, so didn't quite go as planned. We got about a 15-minute heat cycle through it, which is good, and the head gasket seems to have sealed up nice and tight. There's no leaks there. The oil is clean as a whistle. The oil level and the auto oil level is good. The fan doesn't work. So what I'll do is I'll show you. The electrical, went over it again a couple of times. The electrical is fine, but that fan there, which is new, just decided no worky. So halfway through the heat cycle, we got into about the 15-minute, 16-minute mark, and the temperature started bumping up. And we had the workshop fan on it as well. And yeah, it just decided to keep getting hotter, hotter, hotter. So we've shut it down. It didn't get too hot. It was only about 3/4 on the gauge, so it was okay. But I've ordered a Spal, a new Spal fan from VPW that should get here early in the week. Similar size to that one, so hopefully we should be able to make it work on that shroud that's down there. I've double checked all the wiring. The relay's good, the wiring's good. That side of things is all working fine. Motor sounds really nice. The cam seems to be bedding in okay. The lifter's pumped up really good. Just need to get a fan that keeps bloody working and drawing air, don't we? So yeah, so what can I say? That was a new fan, never used on a car, never run before. Tested on the bench, and lucky if it saw 15 minutes worth of work. I suppose it's better than happening halfway down the road, isn't it? So not what we wanted to do this weekend, but again, it's better to happen here in the shop than on the road. Yeah, when the fan gets here through the week, we'll pull that radiator out again and switch it over, test it on the bench again, pop it back in, chuck the straight water in there again, just to be 100% certain and make sure everything else works, like the thermostat and stuff like that. And it seemed to open, okay. I'll double check how the motor looks. It's had a heat cycle, it's had a good run sort of thing. 15 minutes worth is pretty good. We were only bedding the cam in and the lifters, so the rest of the motor is what it is. I should be able to possibly let it idle for a bit, so in which case we can confirm 100% the thermostat is working. But I did heat it with a torch before we put it in there, like a little butane torch, and it opened smoothly, shut smoothly, did everything it was supposed to. So I think it's just the fact that that fan, A, wasn't pulling enough air, and when it was working, and then just decided not to work. Because, yeah, wasn't 100% sure on the original fan itself, but it worked, tested okay, but obviously not enough. So I'm going to put together what we've got so we can at least put something out, and I'll show you some videos or photos of where Dylan's XK is up at the moment. So that's looking really good, and I'll get this one out, and then through the week when the fan turns up, we'll get it switched over, and hopefully we should get the final bit of this running and sorted out. So once I know the cooling system all works and does everything it's supposed to, then we'll get the Dizzy and Carby out of it and start doing the Holley stuff. So thanks for hanging around, thanks for coming back, and yeah, not the results we wanted, but we got something done. See you next time. Bye.